David Morgan with you at the PDAC 2018. Tim Termuende with Eagle Plains Resources.
Okay.
Tim, we had a bit of a talk beforehand, but you've got a great business model. It's called a prospect generator, but some people don't know what that is. So you can briefly outline what that means?
Okay, we're basically the prospectors with the mule, except now it's helicopters. It's the riskiest part of this business spectrum of mining and mineral exploration is the guys that do grassroots work. That's all we do is grassroots. We do a lot of research, staking, we stake all our own ground, or do deals with prospectors that are in a network we know, and then we apply our geological expertise to the projects that are basically sometimes first time anybody's ever worked this property, and go in there and try a model, spend $100,000, maybe $200,000 to see if the idea works, and if the idea seems to be working, then we attract partners who come in and do the heavier lifting, maybe do the first big drill program, or taking it to the next level. And we've done it a number of times over the years. We've got 40 or 50 odd projects. At any one time, 6 or 7 of them are active. Having these many projects, it's a kind of joke about it's like having kids. They're really cheap to have, but they're expensive to hold. And so that's kind of always the challenge is once you get these things and stake them, you got to keep them alive. And you got to do that, we found the best way to do it is to bring in other partners.
Great. Well, this is the Prospectors and Developers Association of Canada. And without a prospector, really nothing happens.
Exactly.
So take us through, and you've had great success over and over again, and not everyone can make that claim. So let's go through, let's just pick 1 or 2 that you've done and where you went from like on the ground to where it went to the next level.
Okay, probably our biggest claim to fame in the last, we've been around for 24 years as a public company, 26 years as a company. Our biggest claim to fame occurred in 2005 when we picked up the Copper Canyon property. It was up in northwest BC in the middle of the Golden Triangle now, before the Golden Triangle was even heard of. We got this property for, I think our total acquisition cost was $7,000. We got it from a prospector who had picked it up. Those claims actually came open in 2001. The claims that came open were in good standing since 1956.
Wow.
And it went through a couple of corporate changes. At the time the claims finally lapsed, BC was rated as the Fraser Institute as the lowest priority mining jurisdiction in the world, beneath Wisconsin. Wisconsin didn't allow mining. BC was under that. So nobody wanted to be anywhere near BC. Those claims came open, we ended up getting them. Did a deal with a company called Nova Gold. They earned in 60%, and then with the 40% that we had in that joint venture, we spun it out into a separate company called Copper Canyon on a 1-for-1 basis. So an Eagle Plains shareholder became a Copper Canyon shareholder. And a few years after that, Nova Gold took out Copper Canyon at about $1.20 a share. So people who had Eagle Plains shares got to keep their Eagle Plains shares. They got the dividend and the liquidity by becoming Nova Gold shareholders. And so that was the best thing we've done so far. I really feel we're on the cusp of doing that again with another spin out we're doing in Saskatchewan. It's a long, grueling grind doing grassroots generation, but someone's got to do it, and not many people do it, and not many people do it well, I don't think.
Yeah, well, the other aspect from an investor's perspective is everybody loves to be able to not only make the money, but to be able to, from my perspective, to brag about it. I love to be in Boise Bay when it was 50 cents a share and went to 150 bucks. Everyone likes a story like that, and they like their bank account too. But the problem is that for every 1 out of 4,000 out there actually becomes a mine and does anything more, maybe a 10-bagger. So when you're investing in Eagle Plains, you're basically getting kind of a basket of stuff that you guys have already vetted. So it's kind of like having the best lottery ticket pool, if you will. Is that a good analogy?
Well, people love ETFs, people love mutual funds. That's kind of how we operate as a prospect generator. We've got, like I said, we've 40 or 50 projects, every commodity you can think of, from diamonds to uranium to industrial metals, gold, silver, all the other stuff. But we've got a lot of tickets in the lottery drum by doing this, and we've also, because we do this joint venture option partner type model, we take risk out of it. So next week, 2 drill programs are starting on our property. One of them is a 60,000 foot drill program. The other one's a 6,000 foot drill program. The cost to us is zero.
Yep.
These people are earning in because we have 100%, they're earning in, so they're spending the risk money to earn an interest in the property. Yes, we'll lose an interest in the property, but something has to give all the time when you're doing development. But we think, and we proved with Copper Canyon, that only 40% of a project left over was still worth $65 million.
Yeah,
so
pretty nice.
You don't have to have it all,
right.
And you don't have to take the risk if you structure it properly.
Great. So you've got a pretty good share structure and a pretty nice treasury right now, correct?
Yeah, we've got, still after 24 years as a public company, we've got 88 million shares out. We've never rolled back over all the years, and we've got roughly 5 million in treasury right now. We own our own office building. We use most of the building. We rent out some to professional groups, so that 5-year lease basically pays all our overhead too. So we've been lean and mean over the years. We've got our own staff of about 15 people, geologists and GIS techs and young, keen people that want to make their mark. And again, just coming out of the last 5 years, we not only really survived it, we thrived through it because we acquired so many assets at rock bottom prices that we haven't even talked about a lot of them yet. They're sitting in inventory. We're slowly working through compilations, slowly building new sections on our website to introduce these projects, and sometimes before we even introduce them, we find a partner for them, and they're off, being advanced without risk to us. So, the formula is working. It's a tricky one to do. There's, I think, a bunch of reasons why we've been able to pull it off. A big part of it is luck of having Copper Canyon at the right time. That was a good payday. In 2011 is when that takeover happened, just when the market crapped out. So we had enough gas in the tank from that deal to carry on through the last 5 years, which have been miserable for most. Miserable for everybody.
Just about.
But, everybody's, it's yin and yang, right?
It is.
Crisis equals opportunity, and, that's the way we sort of played it too.
Well, having a basket of a lot of different type of commodities, in the ground, so to speak. Do you get any influence on you on the flavor du jour? In other words, you've got a cobalt project, let's start moving on that, or?
I wouldn't say we avoid it. We capitalize on it, but our mainstay projects are gold and base metals, copper. We had uranium projects when you could sell uranium projects. We haven't had a lithium project. We have diamond projects. We've got projects that I look at as don't chase the flavor of the month, but always try and be part of it. Mm-hmm. But our mainstay projects are gold and base metals.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, there's always demand for gold, even if it's lower than it was the year before. And gold's actually done okay the last couple of years. It was up like 10 and 11% year over year. Silver was totally flat. Yeah. And base metals, nothing happens unless either you grow it or you mine it. We both know that. So even though it may not be a sexy investment, base metals are the core infrastructure for the entire planet. Anyway, back to you. Is there we've covered a great topic, and I think you have a great model, and I think more people need to be aware of it because I think most investors take too much risk in this sector. That's my personal belief, having been as a financial guy for a long time, and the way we structure our portfolios is like big money into big companies and a little money into little companies. But if you can get an advantage by someone with 24 years experience that has a lot of prospects and have a lot safer bet than you would in just trying to pick it no matter who's behind it or who's writing about it, I think it's a very smart way to play the sector. We've talked quite a bit. I appreciate your time. Is there anything we haven't talked about that our viewers need to know?
I think jumping back to Copper Canyon again, it was our biggest success. I think we're on the cusp of the next one. We're spinning out a company called Taiga Gold Corp, which is, Taiga is the northern tundra basically that wraps around the world, but our projects are in northern Saskatchewan that we're spinning into this new company. They're all gold projects, and they're all in the area of the CB Santoy gold operation that SSR Mining, formerly Silver Standard, you probably know those guys
pretty well.
Yeah, quite well. They recently acquired Claude Resources about 3 years ago at PDAC here. They announced that, and at the same time they acquired that, we had recently researched the whole area that Claude had been working in, and we're quite surprised to see that they had really no expansion claims on the mine. They were focused on the mine, and we were able to stake claims to within 1.5 kilometers of their existing deposit that they're mining now, the Santoy Gap deposit. And so we staked claims right up to their boundary. Soon after SSR took over Claude, they optioned our property off us, so they're on an option deal, and we call that property the Fisher property. And so Fisher is the flagship project that's going into Taiga. We've got a few other projects there that are also going into Taiga, and it just feels like we're filming a sequel right now to Copper Canyon. We've got the big guys with the mine who need the ground next door. We've got the ground next door, and we think by separating it into a separate company, it'll be just so damn attractive to those guys that they can't help but come and get it. So that's the hope, no promises, very forward looking, but if I was a betting man, I would say that's going to play out that way. And it's SSR is starting the 60,000 foot drill program next week. So if there's any luck in that drill program, and I just can't imagine it not finding something with that much drilling, any luck, I think that'll be an M&A target for those guys.
Great. Well, Tim, how do investors find out more about Eagle Plains?
We've got a pretty solid website. We get a lot of compliments on our website. It's sort of on two levels. We've got it to investors and lay people, and it's quite simple on one level, but we've also got it quite technical if you want to dig deeper and find full reports and find all the XYZs, nuts and bolts of the projects, and that's to find other geological companies and other mine finding companies that they find the information they want. It's easy for investors to see the stuff they want to see and everything in between. So that's eagleplains.com.
Great.
Yeah.
Tim, true pleasure. Thanks so much.
Thanks very much, David. Good to meet you.